The problem with creatives is they love to tinker and over-engineer solutions, and while they may not intentionally seek out to overcomplicate things, they tend to have a strong bias towards complexity. It's almost as though they're using it as a means to flex their abilities. At this point, you might be wondering how I can have the audacity to make such a bold claim, or you might be feeling extremely put out by it. But I can boldly make this statement with confidence because I am a creative. I tend to tinker with things. I tend to over-engineer solutions. And I know plenty of other creatives that also err on the side of complexity. The issue with over-engineering solutions is that it can lead to unnecessary stress, as well as majorly hinder the progress of a project. And if you're also a creative solopreneur like I am, then you probably don't have anybody questioning your process or your madness with one crucial question that has become a lifesaver for me, but I'll share more on that later. In this episode, I'm going to share my process for mastering the art of elimination. Take from it what resonates with you and disregard what doesn't. But first, life is what you make it, work it out or change it. Step 1 is start at the end. I know it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but trust me, whenever I'm beginning a project, the first thing I do is go straight to the end and start thinking about what the completed project looks like. Or as Greg McKeown puts it in his book Effortless, define what done looks like. This first step by starting at the end helps me maintain my focus on the finish line, as well as eliminate any unnecessary tasks, which we'll look at in a moment. Now, here's a real world example of this. I plan all of my Substack writing in Notion and I group everything together as a monthly topic. So that monthly topic essentially becomes a project, and that project has tasks within it, which are the weekly articles that I want to publish to Substack. And then those weekly articles will have subtasks within them in terms of coming up with a title idea, who the audience is, the problem that I'm currently challenged with, the solution that I'm testing out, some takeaway tips for the reader, as well as any call to actions that I want to include. So all of that is planned within Notion, and here on screen you should be able to see the actual done definition for my October monthly topic. Done is 3 Substack articles published for the month of October, researched, written, scheduled, published, images created, monthly roundup drafted and ready to add links to the articles. Now, this gives me a bit of a North Star, as it were, when I'm working through this particular project, because I'm always coming back to, am I on track of delivering this done? And this leads us nicely into step 2, which is break the project down. And I know, it's this old chestnut again, but it really is the key in making a project more manageable by chopping it up into smaller bite-sized chunks. And this also helps to prioritise tasks as well as track your progress. One thing that I'm doing in Notion is I've actually created a little progress bar so I can see instantly when I come into my Notion homepage. I've got a dashboard that shows the different projects that I'm working on as well as the progress that I'm making for them. So with regards to the Substack project for the October topic, I can quickly see how many of those articles have I actually got written and scheduled and ready to publish. Now, we've covered breaking projects down extensively, so I will pop some links to additional resources in the description of this episode. And let's move on to the next step. Step 3, we want to identify high impact tasks. So now that we've done the project planning part, we should have a nice little roadmap of our project and the tasks that we're going to need to do to get to our done is definition. And when I have this roadmap, I can begin to see which tasks are the essential tasks that are going to directly contribute to my project being done. But I'm also going to be able to spot any tasks that are maybe just nice to haves, which leads us very nicely onto the next step. Step 4, eliminate non-essential tasks. Now, by having our roadmap, we can not only identify the high impact tasks, but we can also pinpoint those nice to haves, as I just said. But this is where we need to think critically about these nice to have tasks. Are they going to directly contribute to the completion of our project? If they're not, then should we eliminate them? Can they be deferred or even delegated? Now at step 5, we got a bit of a weird one maybe, which is create a lazy solution. At this stage, I've got a pretty solid plan for my project, which means this is the perfect time to pause and ask myself this one crucial question. What would a lazy version of this look like? And this one crucial question is vital for me because I have a bit of a perfectionistic trait, which means I tend to over-engineer my solutions and make my projects more complex than they actually need to be. This one question has been a real lifesaver for me. In fact, it was this line of questioning that led me to ask, how can I simplify my weekly Substack publication process? And thus the monthly roundup was born, where the last week of the month I simply do a roundup of what we've covered in that monthly topic. Now, part of me was a bit like, are people going to spot that I'm not doing a weekly article every single week? But then not everybody is reading every single one of my articles, and people that are coming new into the Planning with Chloe Substack, they probably really appreciate seeing the previously on Planning with Chloe little roundup that I do. And for those that have been following along that month, they probably find it really useful to help consolidate the things that we've covered by having those little prompts to remind them, oh yeah, I'm meant to be mastering the art of elimination. So yeah, I hope that the monthly roundup is helpful for people, but it also gives me that time to catch up on things myself, do a bit more planning and get ready for the following month. And now you know this, you're probably not going to be able to unsee it, but use it as a reminder to ask yourself that one crucial question. What would a lazy version of my project look like? Now, step 6 is don't set it in stone. Now, I am a stickler for creating a project plan, but it's not a complicated or lengthy process because I have tools that I use to help me, which I'll share some links in the description of this episode. It is a vital part of being able to get stuff done. However, I don't set it in stone. Once I am full steam ahead into my project, I continually refer back to my project plan to assess the progress, but also I use it as a chance to look and see if there are any unnecessary tasks or overly complicated tasks and think, can I eliminate these, change these, or defer them? Because the focus should be on the destination, or what done looks like, to borrow from Greg McKeown, rather than the specific vehicle we're using to get there. And so if the vehicle isn't quite working out, if it's kind of rubbish, then I'm not afraid to ditch it whenever possible. The most important thing here is that simplicity really is the key to success. So take what resonates from my process and apply it to your own so that you can streamline your projects and not let overcomplication hold you back from completing and sharing your most impactful work.